What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the King and I Life podcast. It's your boy, Soul Touch the Poet, and my brother.
Sou X.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know how to get at us. So, another fine week in the year of 2022.
Yes, sir.
I'm about to jump into this topic: science or religion. This is one of them topics that that ruffles a lot of feathers. So, Sou X, what you thinking on this, man?
Man, it's one of those things that has been going on ever since they introduced science to the world. Because as far as we know, religion was here first. But I don't know. To me, man, I really think they're one and the same. And people were like, "What? What the hell are you talking about? One and the same?" Well, with religion, people they go by this book, and they go to worship services, and they all tend to generally believe the same thing. And I think it's kind of like the same thing with science. People tend to want to believe the same thing, and then when someone comes up with a different hypothesis or a different way of looking at science with proof, if it doesn't line up with certain scientists, their ideals, they refuse to accept it. So, again, this is just my personal opinion. I see them as one that's the same. One, they're trying to sell you a religious being, and the other one is not a religious being, but they want to follow the same damn ideas. Any new ideas is rejected.
Well, to get us started on this, man has come to the unanimous conclusion that our sun is approximately 4.5 billion years old. Dinosaurs came into existence approximately 230 million years ago. Dinosaurs disappeared about 65 million years ago. Now, with men and all our infinite wisdom, it is said that Jesus was born between 4 BC, when Herod the Great died, and 6 BC. So the question is going to be, what is your conclusion on these studies? Follow behind what you were saying.
All right.
I talk more lean towards science has been here before religion. But I can kind of agree with what you're saying. But if we base this off of what the overwhelming hypothesis is, I'll use that, is that religion is not that old. Religion is pretty much 2,000 years old, 3,000 years old, something like that, to that degree. Because we're in 2022 right now, and if you subtract 2022 years, you got 0. Now that's 2022 years. Now, if you're talking about the sun is 4.5 billion years old, for me, science is older than religion. But again, this is one of those topics where I would have to say, if you wasn't there and you didn't see it happen, how can you be 100% sure? As humans and throughout my life, I've understood, noticed, and learned that as humans, we have to have something to believe. We just have to. It's just like that's just our makeup as humans. So that's my little piece on it.
I would agree with that. I definitely feel that. Hold on, let me back up. To all of our listeners out there, I owe you guys an apology. I was thinking about it today. We had a podcast on do bodies really matter, meaning your sexual partners. And me and Soul Touch kind of got off subject, and the question was raised: if my wife murdered someone in self-defense, meaning defending herself, our child, and of course myself, for whatever reason I wouldn't be able to do it, would I stay with her? And I said no. So self-check on myself. Bullshit. I'm calling bullshit on myself. And the reason I'm doing this is because if I can't keep it real with myself, how can I expect myself to keep it real with you listeners and with my fellow host? So I apologize to you guys. Again, bullshit. I will not leave my wife if she did that. So anyway, got that off my chest. Back to the subject at hand. Science is one of those things to me where, you know, they're always looking to prove something new from a different angle. And again, when it comes down to, like you're saying, the sun was here long before religion. So I think it is, again, one of those things where people choose to believe in what they want to believe in. Case in point, there are so many characters in the Bible where they said, you know, this person lived and that person lived and this person did that person did that. But yet and still, for all those thousands of characters and people who were supposedly in the Bible, how come we can't go to not one of their grave sites now? Affirmatively, meaning this is, they'll say this is allegedly where so and so and so and so is at rest, or this is allegedly where Noah's Ark was built, or something around that. So that part alone for me really, for the lack of a better word, it strikes a nerve with me, because it's like, okay, if you're telling me that this person did exist, but you can't take me to their graveyard or their gravesite for a definite, the only thing you can give me is allegedly. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's hocus pocus to me to a certain extent. But again, going back to science itself, science is supposed to be more concrete, right? Meaning we can prove what it is that we're saying existed or may exist, or things along that line. But again, the biggest thing about that is when people say or try to introduce a new idea, if it doesn't align with the so-called protocol of the science world, it's immediately rejected, no matter how much proof you got that says otherwise. And that's why I think science and religion pretty much go hand in hand, because people only want to believe what they want to believe, and they reject anything that doesn't align with what that image of their belief is.
I got to give a little pushback on the gravesite and cemetery thing, only because if you look at recent times, you can't even find a lot of grave sites and cemeteries for people who died in the last 200-300 years. Outside of that, there's a whole bunch of people on this planet. And with there being a whole bunch of people on this planet, this planet is kind of overpopulated. So a lot of things that were, let's just say, considered cemeteries or grave sites or graveyards or things of that nature have been bulldozed and erased and this, that, and the other. So a lot of things are hard to find. There have been so many situations in our history to where grave sites have been dug up to put cities and stuff in. To get back to the conversation, though, going back in time, science and I think also religion. So I can agree with you to a point on going hand in hand. Science and religion look at us having one landmass, okay, and all those land masses broke apart because of the plates under the earth and earthquakes, volcanoes, this, that, and the other. So with that being said, we know how volcanoes are. Lava is hot and it burns everything in sight. Earthquakes swallow up and, do this, that, and the other. So a lot of things in history are not going to be found. Hell, they said dinosaurs covered the earth. I mean, if it was possible to dig up every fossil of every animal that lived on this planet, I don't think there'd be enough room for people. Then we also have to take into consideration what may or may not be under the oceans. So all of that has to be taken into consideration. The other thing that I would say, as far as all of these people in the Bible, when I was growing up, they made it seem like these people were superhuman or not human at all. And they made it seem like a lot of these people did, for lack of a better term, magical things. Quite a few of them, not all of them. So for me, I struggle with that because one, it's like religion is forced upon us, and we're led to believe that this Bible that has been translated from so many different languages and reworked and reworded, dumbed down, smartened up to appeal to whatever generation is absorbing it in the best way that they can absorb it. Now, when you look at certain things in science, let's just say you dig up, they stick these things in the ground that take samples of the earth, probably like a mile deep, and they date all of that stuff that they bring up. And they find certain things into that, and they have scientific methods of dating these things. It kind of tells me that, there was a world long before religion. So, I mean, that's just my pull on that.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm looking up some information here. Again, I get that the earth has supposedly shifted, from, again, what they tell us. And I get that earthquakes happen. I get that, volcano eruptions happen. I get all that. But again, my thing is, out of the thousands upon supposedly thousands of characters in the Bible, you can't find one. I mean, you ain't even got me